Hi guys, it's me, Blake on Being Blake, and it's been a long time since I filmed anything, so for those of you that are still subscribed, thanks for one. Um, and yeah, I've just kind of taken some time out to kind of live my life a little bit. Um, as most of you know, I used to work like an absolute slave. And all I really ever did was work and then film occasionally the odd video. But yeah, I've been taking some time. Oh, there's a dog. Say hi to Flynn. As you can tell, I've moved again, and it came with a dog, so so I now have a dog. Say hi to Flynn, everyone. He's an attention seeker. Oh, and a tired one. So basically, I wanted to speak to you guys today about how I feel about consent, because I think it's a really, really important subject and something that's been on my mind recently. So I wanted to share it with you and share my thoughts on it. It's an extremely hard world to navigate, um, especially with an environment these days of openness of kink culture has become a lot less taboo and a lot more spoken about and entertained in society these days. But aside from kink culture, like there is still this piece on consent, and they kind of I have fears about sub and dom and kink culture, and where do you draw the line, I guess, between putting yourself in danger. How do you distinguish whether you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation, or whether you are just going to meet someone for a bit of like dominance and stuff? Myself personally, not kind of like into the kink culture. So if you are, and you've had experiences that you wish to share, or you've learnt lessons that might kind of help my viewers date more safely, then please leave your feedback below, because I'd be interested to know stories and encounters and lessons learned and stuff. But I think for me, I have got myself into some situations sometimes where I kind of come off as a femme for most people that I date and hook up with, and I come across as a sub to most. Not always. I have my moments, but I think I've definitely got myself into some situations sometimes where I've become uncomfortable with someone I've seen, and it's kind of started to cross the line between dominance, which is kind of spicy and fun, and it's gotten into a situation that's made me feel very uncomfortable. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a guy, ultimately, with a certain degree of physical strength and a certain degree of the ability to sound intimidating and aggressive if I need to. So in those situations, I have kind of put my foot down and been like, I'm no longer comfortable, this is not okay. Which is a really sort of fortunate place to put myself in, or a fortunate quality that I have. And don't forget, I mean, hopefully I've got like female viewers watching as well. Ladies, don't forget, obviously, like the fundamentals are, unless you're like an athlete or a bodybuilder or something, women inherently will have less strength per pound than a man would. Like it pound for pound, straight comparison. But it doesn't mean you can't fight back. Men have sensitive areas, men have eyes, men have a throat to punch, men have genitals to take your aggression out on if you need a quick exit, okay? So don't forget that you're not kind of up the creek without a paddle. If the worst should happen, use your brain. Don't let yourself get too scared and intimidated, because men will fall Men will fall like a straw house if given the right treatment. So don't ever let yourself get locked in to an environment. Make sure you've always got someone on the outside world that knows exactly where you are, like a bestie or a family member that you can trust. And yeah, maybe invest in rape alarms and stuff as well. You know, I mean, dating as a whole, you know, we're in an environment where dating online and meeting people we've never met in person for the first time is like kind of normalized. But if you think back to the 90s and before that, when online dating was newish, you know, like the standard model for dating was you would date someone that you met already in person first and made a move on them in real life, you know. And when I remember when online dating first became prevalent, people were like, how can you meet people, go off and meet people you've never met before in person but you've talked to online? And it was scary, and everyone was like, oh, it's so dangerous, and you hear stories and stuff. Ultimately, that risk has never gone away. We're just in like a false sense of security because it's so common, but the risk is still there, and you do have to still make sure that you are just playing the game safely. I would say is my advice to you, because especially now, you know, as I say, with the kink culture sort of thing being more normalized and everything. I was talking about this to a friend of mine the other day. I was literally like, what terrifies me about the dating world these days, and you know, meeting someone who has displayed an interest in dominance and stuff. What's to say, like, they could pose in like a kink chat room or a kink app or something. They could pose as a straight-laced guy that's just into a bit of dominating and a bit of dominance. They could pose like that with the intent all the while of doing something really nasty to another person. And you have no idea, you know, you could turn up to this person's house and it could all be normal. And you could be like, oh, this is going to be really fun and kinky and interesting. And then before you know it, you're in an awful, awful situation. So you may think that you know what you're doing. You may think you know you're safe. And you may think that you can trust this person. But I'm telling you now, you can't ever trust anyone. So just make sure you're playing it safely and make the necessary precautions, and keep your head screwed on as well. Remember that there are things you can do if the worst should happen. Okay. I do fear more for my female comrades, as I say, because I think situations that I found myself in before, if I was female, I think that maybe things would have ended up in a different scenario. Which is a shitty thing to say, but it's actually true, you know. So I just wanted to share this one with you, and also to anyone that's watching this that may feel like they have a right to someone else's body and they own someone. You don't. No one owns anyone, and you never have a right. I don't care if you're married to a person or you're dating someone, or you think that they're not valuable as a human because they're meeting you for a hookup. They're still a human being and they still have a right to their body. You don't. You don't. So if you are watching and your headspace is in that sort of way, change or keep yourself away from other human beings because you're a nasty person. Okay? So, yeah. I own myself, I own my body, and I own the choices that I make. And no means no. Period. End of story. But that's all I wanted to say. Stay safe, everyone, and don't let the bastards get you down. And if they do, kick them in the nuts. Wonderful. Mwah. Much love as always. Like, share and subscribe, and I shall speak to you very soon on more hot button topics. Bye.